Good evening and all, hope you're doing well. We're in a state of euphoria now because the technicals have really pumped. And I'll tell you why they've pumped by looking at the FXCM trading station setup. They weren't really bearish, and of course they're pumping. We have to remember this here is like a weekly average, so it's powerful, but it's not like intraday. We're in a state of euphoria. However, if they when this catches up because it's a weekly average, that's going to go green potentially because we can see that they're selling, and then we're going to be in a state of dominance tomorrow. So that will be just be fully bullish. There'll be no respite for bears whatsoever. So we're probably going to be quite risk on tomorrow, and this is going to go green tomorrow. So I'll talk about the indices now because it obviously directly relates to this screen, and I'll show you what's happened. If I bring this across, in fact, I'll put it to S&P. I'll drag the screen across, and here, they're sold here, and we made a box from last night. If you watched yesterday's video, and I was saying we should be above that box, and we really did pump. The thing is, they not only sold creating a box, but they sold again, creating another box, which is basically a demand. In this big one here that sold. Oh God! And where can we make that box? It's this one here, isn't it? So we should be above this one. Okay, so just so you know, we're going to probably have a green cell up here, and then we're going to be in a state of dominance, which is the first time that's happened. Now with the S&P, I think your average trader probably would have spotted a flag pattern here, that being the flagpole, and this being the descending channel, and we had a break for that channel. Maybe I might have to show you actually. I'm not very good with the tools on here, so I'll just use paint. It's a lot easier. Control C and paint. So probably what it's done like a flag, right? And then this bit here is the trap. Alright, so they looked at that. I thought, well, okay, so really after a flag pattern, a bull flag, we should have done this. Up and up and up, right? But then they thought we didn't really pump after that breakout. Then it fell, and then at that point they started selling. So this could have been like a trap. I think a large majority of traders would have spotted that flag pattern, and they would have seen that failed breakout with the falling candles, and then that probably would have cemented the deal. And now the trouble is that they sold again, so they sold twice in succession. So I'll get rid of that. So this tomorrow is going to be of note. I was kind of hoping that they wouldn't sell because it's getting a little bit boring now, and we want to see some return to some normality. But we're going to have more skew if they're going to hold on to their bearish bias, which is they are. But if they're going to add, which is looking likely, going by that chart, the S&P, then we're going to be green up here. They've gone really long Swiss yen in a very bonkers way. So that could be a sell, but be really careful because we had the BOJ today, and they had a meeting, an important meeting about the their exchange rate, not the interest rate, but the exchange rate against the USD. And ING, a big bank, they were saying that price might have to go to 155 on UJ before they actually do anything. So the market's pushing the BOJ in order to get them to do something. So it's a strange situation where it's like the big banks are playing chicken with a central bank. So the yen is probably not really something that I would be looking to trade, because we could have some announcement overnight and boom, there's your stop loss, or take profit. But it's very, very tricky. So they've gone long Swiss yen, and they've gone long AJ, NJ, EU, GU, NU, and UJ, and they've gone long AU, but they're shorted dollar CAD and dollar Swiss, which then brings me onto the trade of the week, and that was a great success. So we can come to FX, come to dollar Swiss, and we had a 2R on this one, so I was really quite happy with that. There's our entry. 4 hours probably not best. We'll go to the hour. and then there's our entry, and there's our stop, and we got a 2R out of it. So nice profits, and it was 54 plus 5, so 59, nearly 60 pips profit. So it's good, decent. And then what we're going to look at is the dollar CAD. But this isn't a setup that I've published or anything. This is something I'm monitoring. We are looking for a retracement. However, you know, we'd probably, well, I need to look at it better, closer tomorrow, because before we even think about buying this, it needs to agree with the QDB scores, and it isn't. Okay, so we've got a good score on the fundamental perspective, but on the QDB score, nothing. So it's saying don't do anything. So looking at this, we can see pound Swiss, but we're very extreme, so I'd be very hesitant to do that. And that's it. Our pound CAD, no, but we're ranging, so that's something that we shouldn't trade. If we're going sideways, we just don't trade it. So just really, it's we'd want something to populate in here, but we haven't got anything in there yet. So we'll look at the dollar CAD tomorrow, and then we can look for longs, because we've got a fundamental market bias for buy, and that's what we use this column, and we use this column, and then we use this one. So that is the technical and sentiment. This is the fundamentals, and so that's that, which is tied into perhaps the robot we can talk about. So we have a technical only mechanism in the bot. So let's take these horrible lines off. It's opened a lot of trades today, which isn't really ideal, but I just wanted to see the timing of the the entry. It looks a lot better without those lines, doesn't it? So yeah, we basically we flip-flopped again on, because we're using the 15-minute time frame. we did this, and then it was, you know, looking okay, and it did this. So it triggered some up here. We haven't actually made profit today. We've made like £2 profit, with a potential scenario where it might come up and it's going to take us out, and we'll be negative slightly. Because we are slightly hedged here. So I think we need to look at the SL and TP, because what is that? That's quite a good move, really, but that's a 53 pip move. It's just the timing of the entry that's the tricky thing, because we're not open at the lows, we're just opening when the technical indicators recommend buy. So it's very, very tricky. I think we need to probably scalp it, I think, because we can see we're going sideways. We are pretty much sideways, aren't we? If you look at the SLCs, they're just baselining as well. You know, we've made a lower low, but we made a higher low, and we're sideways. So I think the scalping is going to be the way to go. What I'll probably do, I think, maybe we close these down, and then I'm going to look at the SL and TP. Which is here. So I think what we might do is just do this, and we're going to have not a 20 pip, maybe we could have a 10 pip, but then it'll be like proper scalper. I think this is probably going to be the way to go. If we're going to go sideways, we can't really do anything other than scalping. So that's what I think we'll do, and we are still testing anyway. So it's just not ideal with the flip-flop as well, because, you know, we probably should be falling on this one. If we did the H4, we had you know, we can see we're trending lower, aren't we? So we should be coming down. I think what's happened is that the market participants, the big boys and the big fish, they don't really want a strong USD, and so this is being propped up in a sort of a fake fashion. But you can't really blame them for not wanting a strong dollar, because come to the risk calc, and we're really, really strong. Look at the indices. The Dow Jones is up 1.2%. Right, so there's no need for a strong USD. So while we're trending lower, there's not much fundamental requirement for a strong USD. So we could potentially do this. You know, if we're going to be risk on, the dollar's going to suffer. So I think probably scalping is the way to go, and that's going to trigger on any new trade. It won't do the existing trades. It will just trigger with a 10 pip stop there. I think that's the best way to do it, isn't it? Just get in and out. And the reason we've got 1R is because we're just checking the technicals, okay? And they should be getting more profit than losses. We should have a good hit rate using the technicals alone. If it's not a good hit rate and we're getting more losses than winners, then there's something wrong with the technical part. Okay, so we need to get that fixed before we put in the sentiment. And so quite risk on, as you can see, with Euphoric. And I think we're going to be in the dominant stage tomorrow, and there could be a case of just not wanting a strong USD for a fundamental reason. So I think the scalping's the way to go with the bot, and then we'll look at dollar CAD tomorrow for a long, because when we've got a market bias for a buy, and so something like that, we at least want an hourly candle above this line. I can't remember exactly why that was there, probably based on that H4, but we'll look at this tomorrow, and I'll put something in Discord. And I guess that's it really. It doesn't really need to be a long one. And yeah, covered the indices, covered gold a little bit. I think we looked at gold, didn't we? Maybe we didn't. Just to say is that we had a we definitely trending higher, but then they'd sold here, and so we had that big move. And there were a couple of people who were a bit confused in Discord as well, and they were, why is it shooting up? Well, just look at the sentiment. You can put like Elliott waves on here, and you can look at all Fibonacci and stuff, and zigzags and pitchforks, but you can make it really simple and just look, well, we're trending higher, so it's kind of like quite bullish, and then if they sell it, then it just adds to that bias. And then you're looking for a long with a stop even there, perhaps, who had a nice trade there. And so that's it, I guess. And don't forget, we've got the Easter weekend, so we'll be away Sunday night, but I'll be back Monday night. Okay, so we'll have to see how we go. And we've got a very explosive end of the week because we've got that PCE data and we've got a power speech as well. So it's going to be quite explosive. So trade safely, and I'll speak to you guys soon.